Hi, my name is Lindsay and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about my year of art supply empties. And the box isn't completely full, but I started this in February of 2025 and I feel that 1 year is kind of a good time to kind of wrap all this up. It is so dusty. Oh my goodness, I should have cleaned it off beforehand. I kept it under my toolbox back there, so that's why it's covered in hair and dust. What went in here was anything that I finished that could then be like thrown away. I didn't put in like pads of paper or stuff like that, which I kind of would love to track how I used up, like how much paper I used and all that, but I can't think of a really cool way to do that besides like jotting it down. So it's more like small things in here and I haven't looked through it yet. This is like my live reaction, so let's open her up. Right off the bat, I know I went through a lot of these, not a lot, but at least 2 rolls of the Scotch Advanced Tape Glider refills. And I love these not only for like crafting, but I also use it for collaging, packaging, anything that double-sided tape or honestly glue would be useful for. I use the tape gun. I got it off Facebook Marketplace for the deal of a lifetime because they don't make these anymore. But it looks like this and the double-sided tape comes out of here and it's super, super useful to be able to quickly apply double-sided tape as opposed to one of these like little tape runners, because I found myself going through the refills of these so quickly and they're plastic, where even though these are wax paper, all of them have some degree of wax paper to be the release paper of the adhesive. These are just a cardboard spool, I believe. It feels less wasteful for me as someone who like goes through a lot of the tape. So on the subject of adhesives, I see 1 glue stick, roll of masking tape. And I'm just peeking so that way it's less redundant. Oh, another glue stick. When I do collage in my sketchbooks, I use a lot of glue sticks, and that's part of why I really wanted the tape glider, because these would not last as long as I felt they should. These little mini glue sticks. Masking tape lasts forever. I just use a lot of it, especially when I was doing my postcard project, my Make 100 Postcards in 100 Days project. I went through a lot of masking tape, not only to tape off the borders, but also to tape my paper to like a board. I'm not including these with pens, and I'm surprised by how few, but I went through 3 paint pens. I remember there was one that like exploded and I just threw it away because there was no way for me to put it in the box, but I didn't technically use it up. It was just like a fail. So it doesn't matter, but I went through one of these big Liquitex acrylic markers in medium magenta, and this is like a big chisel tip. These lasted a surprisingly long time and I still have quite a few of them. I love these for adding backgrounds to my sketchbook. And then just the other day, like 2 days ago, I finished up this blue Posca. I reliably do go through Posca markers every year. And most often I go through black and white ones. So I'm surprised I don't see more in here, because I genuinely would have thought that I went through more. I'm still happy I'm going through my supplies though. Okay, quite a bit. A lot of this is paint, which to me is very exciting. And this one's really exciting to me too. I went through a whole tube of GAC 100 or GAC. I call it GAC. Using 2 coats of this before you gesso, especially a panel, can prevent something called support-induced discoloration. It's on the bottle. And support-induced discoloration is when the acids or like, I don't want to say like lignins, but the natural materials in the wood can cause discoloration on your paintings over time. So I make sure to put this on all of my panels. And I do put it on canvas as well because it helps to prevent it absorbing so much gesso. So I went through a whole tube of that and I'm like halfway done with my next one. And the next time I got like the big tube. Speaking of priming, I went through a whole thing of gesso. Little guy. Gesso is the primer I use on all of my canvases and panels. And especially on like canvas, you use so much gesso. On my panels, I can usually get away with like 2 to 3 coats, and I don't really sand it every time. My painting professor in college instilled like a deep fear in us of sanding gesso because, and it's literally on here, it says warning, hazardous respirable droplets may be formed when sprays. Do not breathe spray or mist. But basically you don't want to breathe it in. And when you are sanding it, you make a lot of dust, and that is known to cause cancer. So if I do sand my gesso, I do it like outside in a full respirator because I don't want to inhale it. I'm surprised I only went through one little thing of gesso because I feel like I use a lot. I'm already like a decent chunk through all of like my next ones, but I did get bigger for the next time. But it's expensive. And I looked into making my own when I was taking a painting class, and I bought the one material for it, which is magnesium carbonate. But the second ingredient to like make your own traditional gesso is rabbit skin glue. And I'm not doing that. I don't eat meat. I'm weird about leather. There's no way I'm using rabbit skin glue on my art. I don't need to know how the sausage is made. Next are like my paint empties. Finished up a miniature golden fluid acrylic in Hansa Yellow Medium. These are the high flow acrylics, not fluid acrylics. These are really fun with abstract painting. I don't really use them otherwise, so I don't think I'll repurchase them. I guess that's kind of something good to say, if I would repurchase something or not. I know that's what beauty gurus do when they talk about their empties. Everything else I've discussed so far, except maybe the glue sticks, I would repurchase. I don't think I'd repurchase this. I went through titanium white from Golden and the Golden just normal artist colors and titanium white in Golden So Flat. Golden So Flat are the paints that I use for all of my pet portraits, and they are my favorite acrylic paints now. I will definitely repurchase this. I have, in a big one, because you go through white just so quickly. I won't be repurchasing this just because I really prefer to work with the flat paints. I also went through a tube of white heavy body Liquitex acrylic, which again would not repurchase just because I like what I like. And these are the golden fluids. The others were high flow. And it's crazy. I got all of these in like a discovery set in like 2017. All these like minis. And I'm just starting to finish them all up. And it's exciting. It makes me kind of sad because I liked using them in like my various abstract paintings, and I would use them in my sketchbook. They were just fun to have. So I don't know. I'm saying I wouldn't repurchase it, but never say never. If something's on clearance or, you know. Everything else is pens or my Instax cases, because I thought this was kind of cute to include too. I went through 2 full Instax. I definitely think I went through more. I might have forgotten to put 1 or 2 in these. I was looking up how to recycle these because it does make a lot of waste. And I think you can mail them back. You can either do like through TerraCycle or you can mail them back. But I think I actually went through more like 3 or 4 of these, and I definitely would repurchase, except I always buy them in bulk right before I go on vacation because they're expensive. So I don't need any right now, but they do expire. So I know I'm like kind of doing like a bit of a gamble because I don't know if my current film is expired. But if you buy those full price, it can be anywhere from like $1, like around $1 a shot. And that's just way out of my price range. So I always try to aim to pay about 50 cents or less a shot. So I'll buy from like Walmart, or where else have I found them in the past? I feel like I always get them at Walmart, honestly, when I get my disposable cameras. And I will buy the box of like 60 shots. And it ends up just being cheaper, thankfully. Because otherwise it's just too expensive of a hobby. But I love taking the Polaroids. I have a big Polaroid too. that I borrowed from my parents that I use as well. But I think I was away when I think I started collecting the shells as part of my supply empties after I refilled that. I don't know. So the next thing is pens. Oh, I threw a cap. Full transparency, I think there's a chance that like a few of these were more just like dried up versus used up, but a lot of them were used up, so I'm including it. So for the first category, I'm going to show like art pens. Two of them are fine liners. One is the Pigma Micron in 08 because I love using the 08s not only in my sketchbook, but I also used them for a while in my planner. Now I use a thinner pen and I use like a gel pen in my planner, but for a while this was my go-to and I used an entire one up. I also went through a 0.4 with the Accurate Professional Technical pen, but I bought these in like 2017. So there's a strong chance it also just dried up. Then I also went through one of these Tombow, I don't know if it'll focus, Mono Twin pens, markers. This isn't a fine liner, it's more definitely like a permanent marker. Oh, I forgot about the repurchasing thing again. I would definitely repurchase and have repurchased the Microns. I don't think I'd repurchase these. I like the Microns. I also don't think I'd repurchase the Mono Twin marker just because it wasn't very memorable. I have so many markers. I also finished up one of these like Tombow double-sided water-based markers. These I have a lot of. I bought them when they would go on sale in like 2017. It's crazy. It's almost like 10 years old. I would buy them from Michael's when they were on sale and I would use them for hand lettering. But then I ended up keeping these in my like sketching bag that I would bring out. I would bring a handful of grays for when I was drawing either landscapes, cityscapes, or just to add shadows to my sketches. And I do think I would repurchase the grays for that exact purpose because then you can also use like a water pen or watercolors to blend these out and make them more painterly, where you can't do that with an alcohol marker. But I don't know if I would repurchase like all the colors that I have. I'm using them right now in my sketchbook and in my planners, but I do feel like I have so many markers and I don't like these for actual like coloring. So I don't know. Last but not least is like pens, like writing pens. And okay, these I'm super bummed out about. These are the Pentel Matte Hop, and these are my most used colors. And I don't feel that I got as much usage out of them as I should. And when I open them, you'll see that there's still ink in there. They're totally clogged. Just a few months after I got them, they clogged. See? And I did use them, like I put them through some pretty heavy use. I would use them in my morning pages when I was doing the artist way. But they just clogged. I did everything I could find online to try to unclog them. I did every like hack I could find. Couldn't unclog them. So I don't think I would repurchase these, even though they're so fun to write with and they're beautiful colors. I may use up the other ones that I have. Hopefully they don't clog as quickly. The colors that I'm using through now are much less fun. And lastly is just a Papermate Inkjoy gel pen. These are nice. I bought a big set for my wedding when I was like filling out invitations, filling out envelopes, filling out thank you cards. I got them at Michael's with a coupon, but they're very expensive for what you get. And I've been having a lot more fun playing with some different like Japanese stationery and even like stuff like Rytech, which I found on TikTok. So I don't know if I would repurchase this because I think like for the full set of them, it was like $50 or something. It was crazy expensive. Those were all of my art supply empties. Definitely a lot of stuff I would repurchase, but definitely some stuff that I'm happy that I used up and can move on. I hope next year I have even more empties because I'm really trying to make more art and go through more of my supplies and try out new things. But for a while there, I just felt like I was kind of like purchasing and not using what I had. I'm proud of how many things that I actually did work through and use through. And it was definitely a big accomplishment. I think what I'm gonna do is throw or recycle all this stuff away. And I'm probably just gonna put tape on my box and write like March 2026 to whatever and start this whole process over again. So I will see you in the next video, and if you only want to see art supply empties, then I will see you in a year. All right, thank you for watching. Bye.